To LeBron James and the Lakers. I think Miami of Ohio proved LeBron's point last night that winning matters, and I don't know why you guys are second guessing what the Lakers are doing.
When someone like Jason Whitlock steps in and starts saying what a lot of fans have been whispering for years, you already know this is not going to be a calm conversation. This is the kind of situation where the truth starts getting uncomfortable, and suddenly nobody on that Lakers side really wants to respond.
We made LeBron an angry person. LeBron James is a happy-go-lucky, I want to pass the ball to my teammates and I want to do little dance steps on the court and I want to celebrate and go kick it with my teammates. That's who LeBron James is. We made him an angry social justice warrior.
So here's what's happening. Jason Whitlock didn't just criticize LeBron, he went straight at the core of what the Lakers are doing right now. According to Whitlock, this whole situation feels like a gamble, not a championship plan. And not just any gamble, but one built entirely around protecting LeBron's image instead of actually building a winning system. That's a big accusation, because we're talking about one of the most powerful players in NBA history and one of the biggest franchises in sports. Here's the part nobody is talking about. The Lakers' so-called bet isn't just about winning another title, it's about extending LeBron's dominance over the narrative. Whitlock pointed out that decisions being made don't feel like long-term basketball moves, they feel like short-term PR wins. And when you really sit back and think about it, it kind of makes sense. Every move is being analyzed through the lens of how does this affect LeBron's legacy, instead of does this actually make us better.
Everybody just wants to go and get the easy championship and stack these meaningless rings to try to inflate what their legacy is. It's absolutely pathetic. There is such a sense of entitlement, and it all began with LeBron James.
Whitlock even hinted that this strategy is starting to hurt the team more than help it, because when your entire system revolves around one aging superstar, you're not building for sustainability, you're just delaying the inevitable. And that's where things get uncomfortable, because no matter how great LeBron is, time doesn't stop for anyone, not even him. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They come into a situation like this thinking they're joining a contender, but what they're actually walking into is a pressure cooker built around someone else's legacy. And that affects development, that affects confidence, that affects how a team grows together. Whitlock basically called this out, saying younger players on the Lakers aren't being put in positions to lead, they're being told to fit into LeBron's timeline. And if you look at recent seasons, it's hard to ignore that pattern. The Lakers have constantly reshuffled pieces, chasing quick fixes instead of building chemistry. One year it's veteran-heavy, the next it's trying to get younger, then back again. That kind of inconsistency doesn't happen by accident. It happens when a franchise is trying to satisfy multiple agendas at once. Here's where it gets even more intense. Whitlock didn't just stop at team-building criticism, he went straight into LeBron's leadership style. He questioned whether LeBron actually elevates teammates, or if the system forces them into roles where they can't truly shine. That's a bold take, because for years the narrative has been that LeBron makes everyone better. But Whitlock is flipping that idea and asking, better in what way?
They've won 7 straight, man. 2 against the Houston Rockets. Been some other impressive victories in there. It's time to take the Lakers seriously. Am I right or am I wrong?
Because putting up numbers next to LeBron is one thing, but growing into a star yourself is another. And if you look at players who've played alongside him, not all of them have come out stronger on the other side. Some did, sure, but others, their roles shrank, their confidence dipped, and their games became limited to what fit around LeBron. This is where it gets dangerous, because now we're not just talking about one season or one roster, we're talking about a pattern that could define how LeBron's career is remembered once it's all said and done. Was he the ultimate team builder, or was he someone who needed everything tailored around him to succeed? And right in the middle of all this, the Lakers front office hasn't really pushed back. That silence, it speaks louder than any press conference. Because if this narrative was completely off, you'd expect someone to step in and shut it down immediately. But instead, it's just sitting there, growing, getting louder with every passing day.
LeBron James stuffing his son into a role that he hasn't earned. Is that, calling it history? Why aren't they calling it what it is? One of the most selfish, most narcissistic assaults on meritocracy that we've ever seen in sports.
Now let's connect this to what's happening around the league, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. Look at younger teams right now. Teams like Oklahoma City, Minnesota, even Orlando. They're building through development, through chemistry, through letting young stars grow into leadership roles. There's patience there. There's a vision. Compare that to the Lakers, and it feels like two completely different philosophies. One is building for the future, the other is trying to hold on to the past. And that's exactly what Whitlock is calling out. He's basically saying the Lakers are stuck in a loop where every decision is tied to extending LeBron's window, even if it costs them long-term success. Here's the part nobody's talking about. This could actually backfire in a major way, because if the Lakers don't win another championship during this stretch, then what was all of this for? All the roster changes, all the adjustments, all the sacrifices. If there's no ring at the end, then suddenly the criticism becomes even louder. And let's be real, the Western Conference isn't getting any easier. You've got rising stars everywhere, teams getting deeper, faster, more athletic. The league is evolving, and the question is whether the Lakers are evolving with it or just trying to survive it. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They underestimate how quickly narratives can change in the NBA. One year, you're seen as a genius, the next, you're being questioned from every angle. And right now, it feels like that shift is starting to happen with LeBron and the Lakers. Whitlock's comments might sound harsh, but they're tapping into something bigger. Fans are starting to ask tougher questions, analysts are becoming less protective, and the conversation is slowly shifting from praise to scrutiny. And this is where it gets really interesting, because LeBron has always been one step ahead when it comes to controlling his narrative. From social media to interviews to business moves, he's been incredibly strategic. But this situation, it's harder to control, because it's not just about what he says or does, it's about what's happening on the court, and that's something you can't spin forever. Here's where it gets dangerous. If the Lakers struggle again, this entire bet Whitlock is talking about becomes a spotlight. Every decision gets re-examined, every move gets questioned, and suddenly the legacy conversation shifts in a way that LeBron probably doesn't want. Because at the end of the day, legacy isn't just about stats or longevity. It's about impact. It's about how you changed the game, how you influenced winning, how you elevated teams. And if the narrative starts leaning towards he needed everything built around him, that changes how people view those accomplishments. Now think about this. Other all-time greats had systems, sure, but they also had structures that outlived them, teams that continued to compete, cultures that stayed strong. The question now is whether LeBron's approach leaves that kind of lasting impact, or if it's something that only works while he's there. And that's the bigger picture Whitlock is pointing to. This isn't just about one season or one roster move. It's about what happens after LeBron. What does the Lakers organization look like when this era ends? Are they set up for success, or are they starting from scratch? Here's the part nobody is talking about. That future might come sooner than people expect. And if the Lakers aren't ready for it, this entire strategy could end up looking like a massive miscalculation. So now we're at a point where everything feels like it's building towards something. The pressure is higher, the expectations are heavier, and the margin for error is basically gone. Every game, every decision, every performance matters more than ever. And through all of this, Whitlock's voice is just getting louder, because whether you agree with him or not, he's forcing a conversation that people can't ignore anymore. So let me ask you this, and really think about it. If this bet the Lakers are making doesn't lead to another championship, does it hurt LeBron's legacy more than it helps it? Or do you still believe everything he's done outweighs how this final chapter plays out?